Hey everyone, Noah here, and today we are going to go through setting up a simulated project in Trimble Marine Construction software, also known as TMC. We will start by creating a new project from scratch, then we'll go through configuration and vessel settings, move on to simulator tool settings, and then finally launching TMC Acquisition and setting up a few simple displays. Please note that you will need an active TMC software license key to be able to perform all of these tasks. So follow along. Let me know your thoughts below and what you want to see in future videos. Thanks, guys, and here we go. We'll make a new project. Go File, New Project. Go ahead, give it a name. Simulated Excavator. Good practice to put a date on there. We're going to use a empty project, though you can use a template if you'd like, if you already have an existing project set up. This data is not crucial to the project settings and does not really affect much at all. It is there more so for reference for yourself there with job information and whatnot. Go ahead and give it a name though of Simulated Excavator. Units are auto-configured by the coordinate system units. So we'll go ahead and we will skip to the coordinate system and set that, and it will auto-update our units to US survey feet for us. By hitting the select button in the upper right here, it will open up the coordinate system database. You can scroll through, find whichever one you'd like. We're going to use Wisconsin Central here because that's where I'm located. So USA NAD 83 feet. Select it and we'll hit OK. Then we'll go right into formats here. Don't need to worry about that too much for simulator. Just kind of some numeric data formats is all. Log files. Out of habit, I like to change these just to clean them up a little bit. For machine control, we don't care about survey type or run line name. And I personally prefer the underscore in file names here. File history, we'll go into more detail in this in future videos. But for good practice, let's check grid models and vessel setups. Disk space, we always want to make sure that the when free disk space is lower than 10 gigs is checked. That way we never overload our computer with log files. Additionally, you can auto delete files after a set amount of days. Options, we'll make sure auto show alerts is unchecked to reduce the amount of times the alert window pops up in TMC. The rest of the stuff here, guys, alert sounds, GPS time parameters, sonar targets and contacts, icon images, not too crucial to any projects at all, especially a simulator project. Time to choose the application type. Typically, it's going to be backhoe and excavator dredging, cutter dredging, wire crane dredging. For the simulator here, we are going to simulate an excavator, but we're going to select multi-purpose acquisition just because it opens up the amount of settings and drivers that we can have available to us in the future. We're going to uncheck the run configuration wizard. We'll come back and set up the configuration later. The reason why is if you hit a wrong setting or something funny in the configuration, it can crash TMC, and if it does, we'll lose all of our project configuration settings so far. So good practice is to uncheck it, hit OK, so it saves our project settings, and hit the gear cog and come into our configuration settings and go after it from here. We'll go ahead and make a new configuration, give it a name, Simulated Excavator. And then these vessel settings, the layouts, etc. Let's skip through these for now. Same reasoning as before. Save our progress. Hit the gear cog again, and now we can add a vessel. You can use an existing vessel as a template. I have a bunch in my TMC, but we're going to go ahead and set up a new vessel. Give it a name, SimX, give it a date. Again, here you can use a vessel as a template, but we're not going to do that right now. Good practice. Let's skip through everything, save our progress, and then come back into it here. So hit the gear cog again, and then you can either double click on the vessel itself or hit edit, and it will open up the vessel settings. And here we have our geometry page. We have our offset list. Offsets are where you would typically program in your receiver, antenna receiver offsets, boom pin offsets, and whatnot. For the simulator, we don't really need that. We also have our visualization section here where we can input the parameters for the body of the excavator, the visualization of the body. There are standard shapes that come with TMC that we can use. Additionally, you can use Trimble SketchUp shapes as well. We can touch on that in future videos too. For now, use a standard shape. We'll do excavator PT cabin, PT meaning port left, so the cab of the excavator is on the left side. Then we can define standard shape size. These values are relevant to the center of rotation of the excavator. So 6 feet each way, left and right, 5 feet to the front, 15 to the back, 0 to the bottom, and 5 to the top. Should give us a good product. Hit the 3D overview button, and we'll check that out. There we go. You can see the blue and red crosshair there is our 0 point, and everything seems to be looking pretty fair. For the purpose of a simulator, we don't need any offsets. It's all arbitrary. So we'll go and add our equipment. For the simulator, what we're going to need is a compass on standard NEMA HGT. You guys don't worry too hard about the drivers here. Just follow what I'm doing, and it'll make more sense once we get the actual simulator set up here. Next, we need the dredge positioning system backhoe for the excavator, and that is going to be a Trimble EC520 driver, 20 hertz. We also need a positioning system geogs, and for that we will do the Trimble PTNL-GGK, and we need a VRU, which again will be Trimble EC520, 20 hertz. Quick overview of what these are. Positioning system geogs is your GNSS receiver. So your actual position, your 3D position. Compass is your heading, which also comes from your GNSS receiver. VRU is your pitch and roll of your excavator, so the body sensor, which comes from our Trimble EC520. And then we need dredge positioning system. That is our linkage position, so boomstick and bucket position, and that comes from the Trimble EC520 as well. Now what we'll do is we will close this out just for a second here by hitting OK to save our settings, and we'll get the simulator rocking, and then we'll set up our IO ports. So tools, simulator. And here we go. We will check this box to keep it on top. So when we click off behind or anywhere else, the simulator does not disappear behind the window. What we need to do here now is add a couple of output ports on our computer. So we will add one UDP on 6001, and we'll add one TCP on 6002. Then we need to add our pages. So basically what we do here is we match what we set up in the vessel settings here. So we need a compass, right? They call it heading in the simulator. We need a position system geogs. They call that position. And we need the dredge positioning system backhoe and the VRU pitch and roll. And in the simulator, it's just called excavator. Now we have our pages. We'll set up the output. So position, this is going to be our 3D real world position. We'll output the PTNLGGK on a UDP port of 6001 with 10 Hertz. Heading, we will output the HDT on the UDP port as well at 10 Hertz. And then excavator for pitch and roll and for position, linkage position, we will output on the TCP port 6002, Trimble EC520, and at 20 Hertz. Now, please note here that with newer software versions of TMC, that you need to set the port to a TCP port before selecting Trimble EC520 here, or it will crash the simulator. Now we have all this, we can go to configuration and save settings. And we will just pull this out of the way for now and come back to our vessel settings. And now we can set up our I/O ports here to match our simulator ports. So if we go to positioning system geogs, we'll configure our I/O port, and we will need to add one. Because we are using the simulator, everything is going to be on a socket, meaning network, Ethernet, whatnot. So we'll hit OK. We'll name it 6001 Sim 6001. And it's a UDP port. So all we need to do here is set 6001. We'll also, just out of habit, type in the loopback IP of the computer and put it in here as well. Then we'll hit OK and give it a device test. Device test is what it's a feature that lets us test our inputs to verify we're getting all of our information. So device test, and we'll see we got all green check marks here. So we're good. Now, if we look at the data coming through, we can see we have no GPS and no SVs, satellite vehicles right now. So in the simulator, under the position tab, we can change that to an RTK fixed solution, as well as 19 satellites. Cool. So we can now close out the device test window way up here. And we can set the same I/O port for the compass. So we'll find it in our list here, Sim 6001. Hit OK and device test it as well. Again, we're getting heading here. So if we navigate to our heading page in the simulator, as we change the slider bar here, we can change the heading in real time. Close that out. Now we'll do the same for our excavator. So VRU and dredge position system, go ahead and configure IO port, add one for socket. It'll be Sim 6002. And it will be a TCP IP client 1.7.0.0.1 and 6002. Oop. Cool. We can device test that now. And you'll see we are getting all of our data here. And from the excavator simulator page, we can configure frame, pitch, and roll over here. We'll close out our device test window. Come back and set the IO port for dredge position system linkage under Sim 6002 device test. Boom. And move our boom. You can see our boom angle changes under segment sensor value. So we are all good. Go ahead and close that out. And now we can leave all the rest of this alone for now. We don't need to set anything else to make the simulator work. So we will hit OK. OK again to save everything. And now the fun part. Let's hit the play button. You can see we have a warning for a clock sync. We'll touch on that later. So for now, accept it. And we need to set up some displays here. The default is the messages display, which is not too much use from an operational standpoint. So we'll close that out. And we'll add a plan view, a profile view, and a 3D view real quick here. So right click on the background, add display. And we'll add a plan view, dredge construction operation. Right click, add display for a profile view, profile, real-time design. Put this guy over here. And then we will add a display for the 3D view online dredge construction. Okay, we got a pretty goofy looking excavator here. So let's make that look a little bit more realistic here. Just like in real life, all the linkage, boom, stick, bucket measurements are completed in the EC520 Earthworks system. So that is true in the simulator as well. To configure these dimensions, we have to go into our simulator itself. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll put the boom in a normal working position here. Put the stick down where it belongs. And put a bucket flat, right? And then in the bottom right, there is a config button that allows us to change the dimension. These numbers are in meters, even though our project is in feet. So be cautious of that. We will set our boom to 8, to be 25 feet or so, and we'll set the stick to, we'll leave it at 6. That's a good size. Then we'll hit OK, and we will watch these shapes adjust a little bit more real. Then we'll notice our boom foot is a little bit far behind the cab there. So we want to move that ahead, go back to our config screen, and it's going to be our boom pin offset. And we're just going to put the Y offset to, let's try 2, see what that looks like. There we go. Moved it up there a little bit. It's a little bit off center. So let's move it to the left a little bit with the X offset of 0. There we go. It's looking a lot better, guys. Okay. You will notice the stick is not really pinned worth a damn on the boom. Don't worry about that too much. That's just something to do with the simulator. Sure we can figure it out, but not that big a deal. Let's go through moving the machine a little bit more with the position tab on the simulator. We can set our height here, our altitude, with the slider bar. It's kind of hard to see anything change here because there's no model to reference. We can also change our speed to move left and right, forward, backwards with the course. Sliders here changes direction. And stop will stop us. Heading, we can spin left and right. Excavator, boom. Stick. Tool for bucket. Roll. And pitch. You can also set limits on the simulator. You can see our stick. We can go way too far up. So let's limit that more realistically at about 60, negative 60 here. So we'll set negative 60 on the slider. And then pretty realistically here, we probably need to go to negative 120. 150. There we go. That's looking pretty good, guys. Boom. We'll set it 65 and negative 20. There we go. And tool, we'll go from 60. Negative 90 looks pretty good. And there you go, guys. We have a simulator set up and good to rock. Thanks for watching and have fun playing.